Time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. We're sitting down with National Weather Service Warning Coordination Meteorologist Tony Merriman. He's back. He was here this spring. He came back in June to do the Monsoon Awareness Week. We talked about the hazards of the monsoon, and now Tony's here today to talk about the monsoon and recap the monsoon, which officially ends September 30th. And then we're going to look ahead at fall and winter, too, and see if we've got a decent prediction of what's going to be coming up in the future. Weather.gov is your website, weather.gov. That's where I go every day just to get the weather. So hello, Tony. Welcome back.
Hi, Paul.
It's been an amazing monsoon season, to say the least. After two no seasons, this monsoon has been unbelievable. So maybe you can give us a recap of what this monsoon was like in terms of the way you guys were watching it happen.
Yeah, so pretty much in July, we started to get in a pretty good monsoonal pattern. We even had some early season rain events too, but nothing too extreme in late June, early July. But we really turned on the rain mid-July and all the way through August, really. So it's been a pretty amazing monsoon season, and it's nice for the most part to at least get some moisture here in northern Arizona.
Oh, man, we were so desperate, too. I remember looking at the trees in my forest and just driving back and forth between Cottonwood and Flagstaff and seeing those big groves of juniper trees that you can see as far as you can see. Just the death rate that was going on out there with those trees. And then the monsoon came in so strong. It was unbelievable to watch how the forest kind of woke up, and you could tell that everything was starting to green up and looking better. And now we got grasses and flowers and stuff that are 3-4 feet high, and it was really much needed after winter kind of dried up early and didn't give us quite as much. SRP has had really good news about the water coming in from the Salt and the Verde into, I believe it's probably Roosevelt Lake, just the amount of water that's been coming in there during the monsoon season. So it's been fantastic. Can you explain to us maybe why this year's monsoon, without looking at the last 2 years where we didn't really have a monsoon, what made this monsoon so powerful this year as opposed to ones we've seen in the past?
Right. So, Paul, typically, again, we look at this high pressure that sets up over Texas, and that puts us in a really good, favorable monsoonal flow for any kind of thunderstorm activity. And this year, the pattern had been pretty persistent with high pressure over New Mexico, Texas, and that area, and drawing up that Gulf of California moisture. And it was pretty persistent beginning July and all the way through August. So just having that kind of, I don't want to call it a stagnant weather pattern, but kind of a persistent high pressure over Texas, that allowed us to get repeated rounds of rain on a daily basis all the way through, most of August as well.
We had some weather events taking place down in the Mexico region too that had an impact on our monsoon this year. Is that right?
Right. So again, we're always looking for moisture sources. And so when there are giant thunderstorms in Mexico, off the western mountains of Mexico, that can easily get drawn up into our monsoonal pattern and overspread Arizona and give us a lot of rainfall. So that really helps increase the moisture over Arizona during monsoon season.
Are you able to tell us who the big winner is this year on the monsoon with the most rainfall?
I'm sure there's some backyards that got a lot of precipitation, but here in Flagstaff we had 10.5 inches, which is well above average. The Prescott city had over 12 inches, about 12.8 inches, which is phenomenal. So that's 175% of normal. So that's almost twice what you normally get during monsoon season. And we still have 7 days left in monsoon season, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we've got rain on the way, too, starting with a 20% chance today. And I noticed by The weekend, I think it jumps up to about a 30% chance on Saturday, and by, I think, Sunday, Monday, it jumps up to a 40% chance, or maybe that's Monday, Tuesday. So, yeah, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have monsoon moisture that we'll be measuring. And Tony was telling me before the show that as long as it falls within monsoon season, which is June 15th through September 30th, it counts towards the monsoon rainfall numbers. So, yeah, we really can't talk about the end of the monsoon yet because we still have a week to go. So that's pretty awesome. What were some of the highlights of the monsoon? Oh my gosh, so many things happened during monsoon. While it brought us a bunch of rain that was fantastic to have, and we all loved to see it, the tragedy that came along with some of these storms was pretty devastating. Some of the headlines that were going on during the monsoon this year, first of all, locally in the Verde Valley, 16-year-old Faith Moore was killed after she drove into a flooded wash one evening at night in the dark and was swept away by floodwaters. Another headline, 2 dead, 30 people rescued from rooftops in Gila Bend. Gila Bend was also getting hammered by rain. Maricopa County investigates 53 deaths during June heat wave. That was just the 53 deaths in the June heat wave. And then a further headline later on down the road was heat deaths in Maricopa County double in 2021. So we weren't taking the heat very seriously as we probably should have been. Grand Canyon had a flood death this year. I think there was one up by Lake Powell in the Page area. Flagstaff neighborhoods hit by museum fire scar flood waters. 200-year event. What does that mean? What is a 200-year event, Tony?
Right. So, in flooding, a 200-year event, or let's say in this case, let's say a 100-year event, that means every year there's a 1% chance of this event happening. And so a 200-year event, every year there's a 0.5% chance of something like this happening. So whenever we talk about 100-year events, 200-year events, those are actually probabilities, and you just divide it by 100. So again, a 100-year event is 1% chance. 200-year event is a 0.5% chance of that event occurring on any given year. So that's more of a statistic term that can easily be misinterpreted. Just like, when we talk about normals, that's actually a smooth average. And, there's no real such thing as normal conditions. It's just a smoothed average, and the mathematical term is normal.
A 0.5 percentage point possible that we would see a 200-year event. And we did. I mean, yeah. I think that, and that area of Flagstaff that got hit multiple times. And it seemed like the third time that it hit was the worst of the 3 that actually hit it. It was something like 3 inches of rain in an hour at one gauge, and then the other gauges were showing well over 1 inch of rain in an hour over that museum fire scar, which lay dormant pretty much for 2 years, because that was 2019 that the museum fire happened. 2020, nothing happened up there. But then again, there was no rain to kind of pack the soil down and get things growing again. And then we saw the same thing, this year. It started out kind of quiet, but then it certainly did rage. Do you guys go in to that area after something like that happens and document it for your own research later on down the road?
So after the fire, the BEAR team, Forest Service, they have a burn area emergency response team that talk about burn severity, things like that. But we work with local officials in terms of the hydrologic response and preparing for any kind of flash floods after a fire event. After the flood event, basically, mainly the county, in this case, for the museum fire, Coconino County, will go and survey. And again, they'd have the sandbags, the Jersey barriers. They try to channelize that. The spruce wash basically is what it is, to minimize impacts, but they do the best they can with what they have. So, we know it's there. And August 17th, I think that's the event you were talking about, where we had a flash flood emergency for Flagstaff, where we did have 3 inches in an hour, which is incredible anywhere in the United States. Right. 3 inches an hour of rainfall, that's going to create flooding concerns anywhere. But when it's on top of burn scar and in the Mount Eldon area, any kind of mountainous area, that's going to spell trouble for anyone downstream, because all that water is going to go downhill.
Yeah, 3 inches an hour. That's an amazing thing. We'll take our first break. National Weather Service warning coordination meteorologist Tony Merriman is with us in studio today. Weather.gov is the website. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Terrifying job. Snake handler, take one.
James, this is a really terrifying job.
Given the hazards, why do you do it?
I've been fascinated by reptiles since I was a child.
Tell me about your little friend there.
So this is Bear Hug. He's a Burmese python. We have him here at the Phoenix Zoo.
It kind of makes my skin crawl. Is there anything that rattles you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're sitting down with the National Weather Service today. Tony Merriman is in studio. Weather.gov is the website. Recapped monsoon season. It was an unbelievable monsoon, and it certainly helped the state of Arizona out in terms of, water, for sure. Tony, before we jump into a look ahead at fall and winter, I was kind of curious. Your forecasters will go out and go to scenes of wildfires. And now, while wildfire season, you can't say it's over in Arizona because we've been dry again. So, things dry out and things burn. We're always in wildfire season anymore in the state. But California and Oregon, Montana, Washington, they've all got, Idaho's got some bad wildfires going there too. I'm wondering, are your forecasters, I know when there's big wildfires, you'll send a forecaster that goes to these fires to help with those in terms of the weather and what it's doing. Are you guys still doing that right now across the western part of the country?
Yeah, actually right now we have 2 incident meteorologists, or IMETs, and our one IMET just came back from a 14-day deployment, and our other IMET is scheduled to go back out to California to help with one of the fires out there. So our local meteorologists have been on the West Coast all summer helping with those wildfires. And actually the wildfires that we had here in Arizona, they were covered by meteorologists from Nevada, is just because of the resources that were available at the time when we had fires. And our local office works closely with any of the Weather Service meteorologists that do come into our area. And the opposite's true whenever one of our meteorologists goes out to, let's say, California or Oregon or Washington to help with wildfires out there.
Okay. All right. So that's still taking place. I know when I get InstaWeb on my Twitter feed, they'll do the update on the InstaWeb, and I'll see that scroll up. And if you follow InstaWeb, it's an amazing amount of wildfires right now that are still burning in the country. It's pages, literally pages of wildfires going by, and you can see California, Oregon, Montana, Idaho, and you could just spin up that thing. And I don't know how we have enough people to even handle all the fires that are going on still right now.
Yeah, I mean, resources are stretched thin, but again, we do the best we can with what we have. And locally, the impacts that we've seen from those fires on the West Coast has been hazy conditions, and it's from the West Coast fires. Whenever the weather pattern's just right, a lot of that smoke just moves right over Arizona, and and people get concerned, rightfully so, that there might be a wildfire nearby. But 99 times out of 100, if we're talking August, September, it's typically fires from the West Coast and not Arizona.
Yeah. So I want to backtrack a little bit on the monsoon. You come in every year I have you guys in at least 3 times a year. We have you come in and talk about a recap of the fall, winter, and then look at the spring and summer. And then I have you come in the month of June 15th, in that time frame, to talk about Monsoon Awareness Week. How seriously should we be taking that conversation that you and I have each year?
Very seriously. I mean, this is, monsoon season. Heat is the number one killer in the United States. And, it's just really unfortunate that some folks don't take that seriously. I mean, I know heat can be uncomfortable, but it can also be deadly. And so when we talk about heat safety, we want folks to take that very seriously, because you can die from heat. And then flash flooding as well. Unfortunately, we've had a handful of flash flood fatalities this monsoon season. And folks should take that very seriously as well. Water is very heavy, and flowing water is even heavier. Water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. So if you can imagine a rushing creek or stream, that's, you only need 6 inches deep to wash your car down the stream. And that's just because that's how powerful water is. So heat and flash flooding are the top 2 most fatal weather events in the United States, not just in Arizona. Okay. Tornadoes are number 3.
So I guess the message I want to get out to people watching, listening right now is, if you're hearing us talk about this, and you may have heard the show we did about the Monsoon Awareness Week, but spread the word about that stuff. Let people know, especially the younger generation as well. Let them know too, especially if they're just starting out to drive, about the low water crossings and the dangers of that. And just help Tony and I spread the word about that, so we don't have any more cases like we've had this year. I really hate doing stories like that. Okay, so that recaps monsoon. It was amazing. It was stellar, unbelievable. Tons and tons of rain. I think the last report I saw the Weather Service put out, it was many locations were 200% above, or 200% or more above normal for this year, which is fantastic to hear. Let's switch focus and talk about fall. What kind of fall are we experiencing, since it is now underway?
So right now we're in a transitional pattern where we're actually seeing low pressure systems dipping down off the California coast. And usually those type of transitional patterns, we can still get rain out of those. We can also start getting some wind to talk about. And, quite frankly, if we do get any kind of weather events, we can get better organized thunderstorms as well, like the Belmont tornado event in 2010. That occurred in October. And so any kind of severe weather we could see in the fall, but right now the outlook is looking for drier and warmer than average conditions. But again, we can have storm systems intermittently, from time to time as well.
Right. So you're saying fall is right now calling for drier and warmer, huh? Okay. All right. So drier and warmer.
The odds are tilted in favor of drier and warmer, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't like to hear that at all. Okay. We got to take our second break. National Weather Service Warning Coordination Meteorologist Tony Merriman is with us today. Weather.gov is your website. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, trapping dust, dirt, and germs from the air that your family members breathe, even the furriest ones.
That's why it's important to keep your carpet and tile clean and hygienic with regular cleanings by Zero Res.
Zerorez uses state-of-the-art technology and ZR water, not soap or harsh chemicals, so zero residue is left on your home surfaces.
Schedule your appointment today because a clean home is a healthy home. Visit ZerorezNorthernArizona.com.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. Tony Merriman from the National Weather Service and Flagstaff is in studio with us. We've recapped monsoon a bit with you. We've looked ahead at fall. It's leaning towards a drier and warmer fall. Tony, what do we think about winter? Because I think last winter was a pretty good winter, right? Was it an average winter?
Yeah, for the most part, it was pretty average. We had intermittent winter events here and there, but yeah, it was a pretty average winter last year. But looking forward to this winter, we're headed towards a weak La Nina pattern, and typically what we see during La Nina patterns during the winter is again kind of a drier and warmer than average winter season for this upcoming winter. And we're just talking about probabilities, so that's kind of where the odds are tilted in favor right now. It doesn't mean we can't get a winter event or anything like that, but right now that's kind of what we're expecting for this upcoming winter 2021 to 22 is odds tilted in favor of warmer and drier than average.
But that's what we've had for the last couple of winters. The La Nina weather phenomenon has been, what's the deal here? It's where's our El Nino? The El Nino is the one we want. That gives us the really great winters. But this La Nina, it seems to me it's been here for the last couple.
Yeah, and again, when I'm talking weak La Nina, so I want to say it's an oscillation, so it goes up and down. So up is El Nino, down is La Nina. It's closer to the middle, which is average. So it's just kind of leaning towards the La Nina favor. It's not really one or the other. There's three, so near average or weak La Nina. That's typically that's what our forecast is. So we're not going extreme one way or extreme the other. It looks to be right in the middle, leaning towards the La Nina type pattern.
Can you remind us what the average snowfall is for the Flagstaff region in the winter months?
Yeah, so with the new climate normals that came out, the new climate normals takes into account, it's the last 30 years. So 1990 to 2020, the average annual snow actually went down a few inches. So it's about between 90 and 95 inches of snow is the average for the Flagstaff area for the winter months.
90 to 95 inches. Okay, that's our new average. Okay, I had forgotten that you guys were going to get that list, that new information. What did you call it again? Last 30 years?
Yeah, they're the 30-year normals.
30-year normals.
And they get updated every 10 years. So it's right in lockstep with the census. Typically, we'll get the update in 2020. The next update will be in 2030, 2040. So these are moving averages. So the 30-year normals capture the period from 1990. It's actually 1991 to 2020. So that's 30 years. Okay, all right.
And I guess the typical winter things you got to watch out for, because you did say, although it's tending to be drier and warmer for the fall and the winter, it's not like we're not going to have storms come in. So, pay attention to the Weather Service. Weather.gov is the website, and just keep track of it and know what's going on. And of course, we'll pass the information along too when we've got the big storms coming in. All that typical stuff of don't, brake hard and leave room between you and the vehicles around you and all that good stuff, and dress proper for the cold weather and all that good stuff. So I think I've got everything I need from you today, Tony. So not the greatest future outlook for the fall and winter, but we'll have to see what takes place and how it happens and how it rolls out.
Yeah, and as long as everybody stays safe regarding the weather, we can still have a few hot days left this year. Drive carefully in the rain, never drive into flooded roadways, and just keep safety in the forefront, and we'll have a good rest of the year.
All right, Tony. Well, thanks for coming in today. I appreciate it very much. Again, the weather website is weather.gov. That has been today's Countywide. As always, we thank you for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.